I just started to write by doing sort of evening class and sort of just seeing how it would go. And I found that I liked it. But not only that, the first thing they tell you in writing classes is write about what you know. So, of course, it started with my family. So I started just writing little vignettes about my family and realised that actually, A, I'm interested, and B, so are other people. And this is something that hasn't, I haven't been able to sort of read about myself, that sort of experience of being black and British, that new sort of identity, if you like. So I thought, yeah, this is worth exploring. And then from there, I sort of got into the history of the Caribbean, and and it's just taken me on this incredible journey.
I'm really interested in the writers that you were attracted to when you first started reading avidly, that you went to the African-American experience as opposed to the British one. And I just wondered whether your writing of Small Island, for instance, became part of your desire to chronicle an experience that had been chronicled by other writers, but perhaps in a slightly different way.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely. And I mean, that whole Windrush thing was a very important thing in my life. I mean, at home I have a picture of the Windrush on my wall,
Your father came to England
My dad
on
came on the Empire Windrush, yes. And so I think I was always going to come back to that story. And I think it's a great story. And it's been, well, I think you could chronicle, you could chronicle it for quite a while and never get to the bottom of it. There's quite a lot to tell there about that immigration and why it came about. I have found books on slavery quite hard to read, not because they're bad books, but because it's a very difficult subject. And I know when I first thought I'm going to write a book about slavery, I really didn't want to do it. I just thought because it's going to be harrowing and it's going to be miserable and it's going to have to be like that. Because of the history. And then I started looking into the history, and I could see just so much more life in there than just that sort of terrible victim, harrowing misery. And I wanted to bring some of that life into it. This was 300 years slavery lasted. And so it wasn't a quick, sharp atrocity. It was something that went on for a very long time. And so a society was made, a culture was made and developed. And so my character had to be somebody who lives her full life on this plantation. And it was a balancing act, because you also have to say, yes, slavery was an enormous cruelty. And you have to show that side of it. And it was an incredibly violent time, that whole 300 years. And it was unpleasant as well. So that had to be there. So there was a balance to be made.